going. And I've got Paul Esch, who is my co-worker here, and we're going to kind of tag team you guys this morning on this particular topic. And Paul's going to start us out, and I'll let Paul go ahead and introduce himself, and we'll run through some slides, and then we'll have some time at the very end for Q&A. So, Paul, you want to go ahead and kick it off?
Great, sure. So, name is Paul Esch, and I'm responsible for the strategy and the business development. And one of the big areas of focus here from this year is extending to the channel. So we're going to cover a few topics here today. The first is just give you a background on the channel and the approach TSANet's taken with it. Then we'll provide a little bit of information on custom groups, because you'll see that's one approach to this, and then some call to action as far as efforts and things that you can do on your side to actually extend TSANet to your channel. And then, of course, we got some time towards the end here for Q&A, and hope to get a few good questions there as well. So first of all, just to give you a little bit of background on why we're extending to the channel. And again, this is something that we actually started towards the end of last year, so kind of this year was fully focused on it as well. Of course, TSANet, or a member-driven organization, we've got the single goal, which is improve multi-vendor support. And a high percentage of technology is sold and supported by the channel. Certainly that depends on a region. Some regions are heavily channel, some regions are even 100% channel. So the channel plays a very important role. And we see that something that will improve the overall customer experience. So that's why TSANet's extending to the channel. Few benefits for the channel, and I would say this aligns very closely to the benefits for vendors that are joining TSANet. You know, the obligation of members to collaborate with others, so that piece, the standard legal framework and kind of approach to multi-vendor support, they definitely see advantages, and I would say are pushing very hard on elements like case exchange, the member web portal, etc. So they like consistency in how they work with different vendors, and they see TSANet and some of the operational things that we're doing and technology that we're working on as something that will help them reduce process complexity. So today, if you can imagine a channel member that's working with 4 or 5 different vendors, each one completely different, that's a difficult environment to manage. So they see this simplifying their world of multi-vendor support as well. As far as how it works, and we've gotten this question a couple of different times, and we kind of put this slide together. I think the bottom comment is really the most important, and that is, just like vendor-to-vendor collaboration, a common customer rule is really kind of the basis for entitlement and the basis for collaboration. So you got a situation where a channel member is working on a customer environment, several vendors involved, and they feel that they need support from a vendor that's not currently in the troubleshooting process. So they reach out through TSANet, pull that other member in, resolve the problem or isolate it, and ultimately that's a better customer experience than finger pointing them back to that vendor, or maybe even another channel member that's responsible for that piece of the environment. So again, common customer is the most important thing here, but otherwise, same exact model, vendor or channel, works as far as the process. We have been successful in bringing some new channel members on. So what we've done from TSANet, just a little bit of background, is we've been doing some direct marketing efforts and trying to bring channel members into TSANet as basic or premium members. And we've gotten a few of those. So we've had the ability to bring them on, understand what they see and what some of their feedback is. And the first, obviously, they see the core value in TSANet, so they get it right away as soon as we kind of tell the story and explain what TSANet is, what our role is, what our future vision is, so they understand that and certainly see that something that they want to be part of. Again, they like the standardized way of working with vendors, so that seems to be one of the top priorities. And then the other comment that they tend to make is, while it may be an exception process for a vendor to collaborate with another vendor in a multi-vendor situation, multi-vendor support is what they do all day long. So it's not an exception process. It's something that, you know, each issue or customer environment that they go into is multi-vendor to them. So so they see this as an important piece. And I've got just a quote here from Jack at DataLink, which is one of our channel members. There's actually a DataLink member spotlight that's on our website that I encourage you to go to as well. It provides a bit more detail on what they do, how they see TSANet fitting into their support model. So that's a good segue into the tools that we have for communicating with your channel. And you can find all of this if you go to tsanet.org/channel. So if you go to that URL, what you'll find is that landing page that you see on the picture here. And there's quite a bit of content there, and this is continually refreshed whenever we have some new materials. For example, this recorded webinar will end up showing up here as well. So we've got the channel brochure. It's a single page overview and benefits, so that's kind of a nice one-pager that explains it and can be used to share with your channel. We have the channel presentation, which is a more comprehensive slide deck that includes membership levels and other details. And then there's quite a few blogs, member spotlight, like I indicated, things that kind of help market and explain TSANet for the channel. So things are a little more specifically tuned for a channel audience. So again, you find all that at tsanet.org/channel. And at this point, I think what we'll do is we'll hand it over to you, Dennis, and let you kind of take them through how a member can bring the channel into TSANet.
Yeah, so let me kind of cover a little bit more of the tactical stuff, and then we can talk even a little bit about kind of the next steps that we would take. I want to emphasize really what Paul was saying. One of the things, you know, we talked about that, you know, we started to go into the channel as an organization last year. We've actually had members that were outside of the traditional vendor space for quite some time, and that sort of kicked off the discussion with the board of directors that, hey, we've already got these people, so maybe we need to embrace this. So that's kind of how this got started, and now it's beginning to evolve. And what I want to cover here, and for my part, the biggest emphasis here is on, you know, traditionally you couldn't have, we started the organization out, you would never have a non-manufacturer be part of this, and it really opened up our eyes when we had companies like DataLink and some others that came in that said, hey, you know what, I'm reselling this product, or I'm doing something other than what a traditional manufacturer would do, but what I find is my customers need help, and this is a way for me to extend out, as long as they do have that traditional path of entitlement with another member company. You know, that's the call's coming in one way or another. So you can have companies come in and suggest that they come into the basic or premium TSANet. Now, when we onboard them, we typically do it a little bit differently than we would a traditional vendor, because it's obviously very important for us to make sure that they understand that this is not a free support mechanism. This is a mechanism for you to be able to work with another company in the basic or premium TSANet, where that customer has direct entitlement privileges with the other organization. So you can bring them on, and we've got companies that are like that now. It has actually worked quite well, and haven't had any problems with that. But the other thing that you can do, and this might be a little bit more depending on what it is that you're trying to do, is to create a custom group. And when you do that, as you all are aware, in the custom group environment, all the rules of the traditional basic and premium TSANet can go out the window, right? You can start over and you may not have the mutual customer rule, or you can define it differently, or you can do all sorts of different things. So I think we're finding a couple of different things that we see as value to bringing in a channel partner or your channel group into TSANet, is that you might want to define the rules of engagement differently, especially if it's a one-to-many type group or something like that. But I want to cover also some other things that comes along with that custom group. And so, Paul, you want to go ahead and go on to the next slide there?
Mm-hmm.
So when you come into this, we can create this from a couple of different perspectives. It could be even a smaller invited-only many-to-many group, or it could be a partner group where it's a one-to-many, meaning it's one-to-many from a host perspective, and it's a one-to-one from the partner's perspective. That's something that we would work with you on at the very beginning of this. So strategically, we'd figure out what is it you're trying to accomplish, what do you want to do with the channel. But what you're going to find is this is a very easy way for them to come into a relationship with you. And so when they do that, especially in the custom group environment, then what you've got is the ability to not only set up and we'll do some co-branded registration. We've got landing page. I'm not going to show you that. It's probably a next step type of thing. But every custom group also comes with a microsite. And what we found in the channel environment is that this can be a big value add, because it gives you a neutral platform where you can exchange knowledge or training, or even things like a virtual lab with your partners. And what we found with one particular group that we're working with right now is that they wanted to do some things really differently in this particular area. So in the microsite, we've got tabs that say knowledge and training exchange. And you're actually going to see this right here as he goes to the next slide. We can change those tabs, and we can also then define who can post to those tabs and who can read those tabs. So there's a lot of flexibility that we have within this microsite, just that's beyond the traditional collaboration. But of course, you've also got that traditional collaboration where you're going to see a contact document, and the partners are going to see a contact document on not only, so you have the way of reaching them, and they have a way of reaching you. And again, this can all be customized into the relationship, and you define the terms of that relationship. So we can help you with all these areas right here. It can be collaboration, whether it's the knowledge or training exchange. If you want to do something like a virtual lab, we can pull RSS feeds and iframes into this vendor neutral spot where everybody can see the same thing, and then you can define who can post to it and who can see it. It's really, this is one of the key features that I think you're going to see if you want to pull your channel into TSANet. Okay, good. So here's the other thing that we found. For this to work, it's just like really anything else in a partner program, is you need to get buy-in from your channel manager. They need to obviously see the value in doing this. And that first conversation, if it's awkward, probably is going to turn them off. So what we've got is we've got some things that will help you at least introduce the entire concept of TSANet to them. So we've got this brochure and slides that Paul's got the URL up there. You just go to tsanet.org/channel. The data link member spotlight might be something that they would find, hey, this company is doing this, and they're certainly not in the vendor environment. So this might be a really good way for you to show them, hey, this is another way to do that. We've got this webinar up. And then I'll tell you the other thing that I think finds probably more useful than anything is use us. You're a member of this organization. That's what we're here to do, is to help you. So if you maybe just do a short introduction to your channel manager, and then say, hey, why don't you jump on to a webinar with these guys from TSANet. You can ask them any question you want. It's just going to be us, and we can go through the entire thing and explain what the value is of TSANet. And for most of you, right, one of the big things is you're already a member, and so the hard part's already been done. And this will not add any additional cost. We can set it up to where it won't even cost you anything to set this up and do it. So this is what we find is probably the next big step, is to get buy-in from your channel manager, and we want to help you do that. So make sure that you use us in doing that. Okay? Go ahead, Paul. So this is one of the things that I do all the time, right, is creating a custom group, right? So again, I kind of covered this a little bit. What we want to do is we want to understand the objectives of what it is that you're trying to do with your channel program, right? And set the scope, whether it's from a regional perspective, a product perspective, whatever that happens to be. You know, what is it that you would like to see happen, and how can TSANet help you do that? And then we go ahead and actually set up a demonstration, and we could even go out onto the beta site if you gave us a little bit of upfront information and set something up that was specific to you with your logo and some things like that. And then once you get the next step in this, that's when we get into really working on the co-branded marketing materials. We make sure we've got that registration page, make sure that from an education perspective that your channel team members know what's going on, and we basically become an account manager for you. So we work with you and your channel manager to make sure that from a TSANet perspective that we're meeting all the goals that you want to do. And what I've found with other partner programs is once you get to this point, it's just like, wow, we should have done this years ago, because it's a very easy and cost-effective way for you to bring your partners into an organization and then set up that relationship between you and your partners. Okay. Anything I missed there, Paul, that you wanted to cover?
No, I think he covered it extremely well. So, so again, you know, I think at least maybe just echoing a little bit on our experience so far in some of the conversations that we've had. Certainly, you know, we're continuing to make some progress with directly having conversation with channel members and bringing them into the open group, either basic or premium. So if you feel that's the right path, maybe you have some strategic channel partners, introducing us to them, and then, you know, having us take them through kind of open group. That's certainly option number one. Option number two, we looked here at custom groups, and we're kind of, as Dennis indicated, seeing a couple different things. Either maybe existing many-to-many custom groups who are a particular solution from multiple vendors is going to market, and there's a desire to bring on, quote-unquote, an authorized channel partner network that is capable of supporting all elements of the solution. That is certainly a really nice fit for this. And then third is just extending your entire channel group out, and I think we've got you know, an example of that with VMware. Their TAP program includes both technology partners as well as channel partners in that. So I think we've got some experience with all three. So talking, you know, with you guys on what's the most appropriate first step for each member is something that's probably the best next step for folks.
And again, if you do have questions, go ahead and you can use the panel over there. I think to emphasize that a little bit, right? I mean, there is no one way. Well, this is what TSANet does, and it's going to be done this way, and there's no flexibility in it. That's absolutely not the case, right? So again, I think to emphasize what Paul's saying, one of the problems that we've run into as an organization is we've been traditionally in this open group environment of vendor only, where the basic and premium fit, which works well, but it doesn't necessarily meet everybody's needs. And we kind of been stereotyped into, well, that's the only thing that TSANet does. And so I really want you to take advantage of the full spectrum of what the organization can offer you. We must have covered everything, Paul, because I don't have any other questions.
Okay, great. We'll have this, again, recording in slides up on the web, and I think Stephanie ends up sending them out to folks that are registered as well. So feel free to forward that on to your channel members or other folks in your organization that might have missed the webinar.
Right, and again, if email, and you can obviously go to tsanet.org to get our contact us information, but it's really simple. It's Paul at tsanet.org or Dennis at tsanet.org. We'd be more than happy to talk to you. So thanks for joining us this morning. We appreciate that, and hopefully you'll be talking to us soon. Thanks, everybody.